Welcome to Friday, TGIF. It's the 26th day of September, 2025. This podcast brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at WyomingAdvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, the weather's going to be hard to beat. Certainly, those guys are out enjoying the nice weather, and so should you. Grab the camera, check out the fall colors. Very pleasant autumn weather is coming right on into early next week. The only bump in the road will be a little bit of scattered shower and thunderstorm activity. For most areas, that won't be until Sunday. For folks in the southwest and the southern Rockies, you'll have showers and thunderstorms as that cutoff low will just continue to hang off the southwestern areas of the U.S., just off the coast of Mexico, and that'll keep some shower and thunderstorm activity going. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to beat. Modest cooling trend mid to late week as we get into early October. Not a hammer of cold coming in out of Canada, but gradually starting to cool off a little bit late next week and towards next weekend. Taking a look at some photos coming in. Boy, we can see all the way out into California. Fall colors showing very, very well up into the Bighorn Mountains. Look at that blue sky and those beautiful colors from the aspen leaves. And the hawk out enjoying a nice morning there in Fort Collins, Colorado. And we talked about that moisture in the desert Southwest. Well, there it is, with some shower and thunderstorm activity going to be popping up over the next few days there. The satellite photos show it very well. You can see the subtropical moisture is leading up into here, and it's just going to kind of spin around very slowly over the course of the next 72 hours, gradually moving east by Sunday. We talked about a little low moving right along the U.S.-Canadian border today. There it is. It's going to zip very quickly eastward, and it shows up very well on the water vapor. You can see the water vapor, the counterclockwise spin right there of the upper level low, drawing subtropical moisture northward. Then this system will head very quickly eastward. So by noon today, you can see where that system's going to be, moving very quickly across Alberta and Saskatchewan, headed towards Manitoba. It will drag a cold front across Montana, a dry cold front, but as we mentioned yesterday, it's going to get a little windy up here and into parts of northern and eastern Wyoming later today as that system moves through. But it's moving very quickly eastward, more of a zonal flow up here, west to east. So that will flood the U.S. with generally mild Pacific air across the region. That's how it'll go today. There's the wind. So going to be a little bit windy today up into the Dakotas, up into northeastern Wyoming, eastern areas of Montana. So some breeziness today, but nothing too bad. If we step through the next 3 days, the thunderstorm activity will be in the green shaded areas. So this is for today. This is for Saturday. You can see it's all just hanging around over the next 2 days over the desert Southwest. But you'll notice on Sunday, on the next slide here, the moisture expands north and eastward a little bit more. So the best weather is going to be today and tomorrow in the central and northern Rockies. Sunday, the weather's still nice. Just we'll have more clouds around, and we're going to have a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity. This is where we're going to be by Tuesday. Things get jumbled up a little bit. We have this storm system and cold front approaching the Pacific Northwest coast. We'll have Hurricane Humberto here out in the Atlantic, another tropical wave threatening the Carolinas. We'll show you that here in a moment. So things starting to heat up in the tropics finally. What happens as we get to the middle of next week is we're still a little nebulous about that. We still have some disagreements, but this trough, generally speaking, will come into the western United States towards the middle to the end of next week, albeit in a weakened state. But it will push in some cooler air, slightly cooler air, right at the beginning of October and into the first weekend of October. If you look at what's going on out in the Atlantic, this, as you'll see in a moment, is likely going to stay off the coast, thankfully. But this area right here, and moisture coming in from here, is likely going to bring some very heavy rain to the southeastern United States. This is Humberto. You can see it likely is going to follow the path of Gabrielle, staying out, being a fish mixer, maybe affecting Bermuda, but for the most part missing the U.S. mainland. But very heavy moisture from that other tropical wave Could bring some very heavy rain to the Carolinas, parts of Georgia, maybe up into Virginia. Something that we'll need to watch. Remember, a year ago, just a little bit more than a year ago, we had the big flooding in North Carolina, so they don't really want to see that again. They won't see that of that magnitude, but that does need to be watched. Now, going out further, this is a week from today. So as we go out from today through the next 7 days into October 3rd, next Friday, we do see a bit of a stronger front coming on through. Again, this is not a big one, but we're getting more cold air building up. And what we continue to see is a lot of activity up here. And what this activity is doing is spinning off smaller fronts and storms coming through the western United States. And you don't really know if it'll just be minor waves or ones that'll end up stronger. Case in point, the reason I bring this up, we had a little low that produced a lot of rain and some mountain snow early this week that really didn't look like much 5 or 7 days in advance. It just didn't. And all of a sudden, it becomes a much larger system. So with the Pacific very active like this, you got to be really careful to watch out for the little ones that can come in and cause it a little bit more in the way of weather. But overall, between today through the middle of next week, other than a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, there really isn't much happening. This is going to be really nice fall weather. But again, pushing the envelope, looking longer term a little bit, as we get into October, we're seeing signs that the Pacific will start to shift a lot of that low pressure that's off the coast a little bit further eastward. The European AI version of the Eastern Pacific Oscillation is showing a tendency to be very positive, like it is right now, above that zero line, which is going to mean generally fair weather for the most part. But you see this stair-stepping down of the Eastern Pacific Oscillation. This means more high pressure in the Eastern Pacific, more low pressure in Western North America. And this up and down here, every time you see a bit of a trough in this, you've got some type of front or wave showing up in the modeling that's going to want to come through. We also see a negative Pacific oscillation, Pacific North American oscillation. We call that the PNA, kind of coinciding. And this really is showing up especially around the 6th, 7th of October and there afterwards. This goes into a negative phase. That's a colder signal as well. So the long-range forecasting may not suggest any really big shift to colder weather yet, but we'll watch for that 6th, 7th, 8th of October if these oscillations, these general trends in the Pacific shift as the models are suggesting, at least in what we call the teleconnections. So that's something to keep an eye on. In the meantime, get outside, get some fresh air, and enjoy some beautiful early autumn weather.